When we ask people what their favorite hotel in Las Vegas is, there are so many people say that it's either Venetian, Palazzo, which are sister hotels, or Wynn and Encore, which are also sister hotels. Now, we've had the opportunity to stay at both Palazzo and the Encore recently, and we took footage of our rooms, but we also wanted to give you a little bit of footage of what the hotels themselves look like and compare the two a little bit. So let's get to it. So even though the Palazzo and the Encore are extensions of the Venetian and the Wynn, they each have their own check-in areas, their own lobbies, and one good thing to note is that they both offer free parking if you're bringing your car. So at Encore, they have kiosks that you can check into if you don't want to wait in line, but they do not have the mobile check-in on an app. They do have an app, but it doesn't have mobile check-in on it. Now over at Palazzo, you can check in online. They do not have kiosks up there though, so you check in online and you have to go up and get your keys from a desk agent. Both the Palazzo and the Encore have pools that are open year-round, and they're heated from 82 to 85 degrees, so it could feel pretty good in the winter time if you come to the pool. Now, the only difference between the two properties is if you are staying at the Palazzo and the Venetian guests can go back and forth between the two pools. If you're staying at Encore, you can use the Wynn pools, but the Wynn guests can't come over to the Encore pools. Now, if you are into the day club scene, well, behind me is the Encore Day Club or the Encore Beach Club, and this is a really popular place. And if you're staying at the Palazzo, you can walk next door to Venetian, and there's the Tao Beach Club behind me, which is another very popular beach club. So the Venetian and the Palazzo are connected through a walkway of sort of shops and restaurants. There's Restaurant Row, and you walk over, and there you have Palazzo. So you don't have to actually walk outside between the properties to get to one another. So just like the Palazzo and Venetian, there's an interior walkway between the Encore and the Wynn, so if you want to go back and forth, it's not too far of a walk. So both the Encore and the Palazzo have check-in times of 3 o'clock, but if you're staying at Encore, you do get a 12 p.m. checkout time as opposed to 11 o'clock at Palazzo. Now both of the resorts have a $45 resort fee, so that's pretty standard, I guess, in the luxury hotels. And the rooms are pretty big. So Palazzo has all-suite rooms, and the room we stayed in was about 720 square feet, but the Encore rooms are also very large, actually a little bit bigger. Our room at the Encore was a standard room and it was 745 square feet. So now let's go take a look and see what the rooms look like. location is concerned, both of the properties are on the north side of the strip. As far as Wynn Encore is concerned, you have the Fashion Mall that's just a pedestrian bridge walk across the street. You also are close to Resorts World and the soon-to-be opening Fontainebleau. So that is the Wynn and Encore. Now Venetian and Palazzo, you're a little bit closer to the center strip. So Venetian is right next door to Harrah's, and you have Treasure Island across the street. So you are just a tad closer to the center strip at the Venetian and Palazzo. So both the Palazzo and the Encore are sort of extensions to their sister properties. They were built after the fact, but each of them can sort of stand alone as a hotel. I will say though that both of them have smaller casinos than the average hotel, but if you're comparing the two, for sure the Palazzo wins. Now, even though it's smaller, the Palazzo does have much more as far as variety and many more table games and slot machines. And the Encore itself doesn't have too many. It feels pretty small, like pretty tiny. But I mean, in either case, you can walk over to their sister property to play in the casino. But if you just want to come down from your room and hit a slot machine, I would say that the Palazzo is a better place to do that. So the one benefit, if you're a poker player, is that there is a poker room here at Encore. So they do not have that at Palazzo. You have to go over to the Venetian to their poker room. So if you're a poker player, the Encore might be a better choice for you. At the Wynn, they have a show that's called the Lake of Dreams. It's a water show that they have out here. Now, if you're sitting at dinner at one of the couple of restaurants that are down below, you have a great show while you're eating dinner. And then upstairs, there's a bar area, and you can be on this terrace and watch the show from here. Now, over at Venetian, they have the gondola ride, so you can actually get in a gondola and ride around the property in a little canal. One really cool thing about the Venetian and Palazzo is the Grand Canal shop. So basically above the casino floor there's like a whole mall, and it's expansive. It is not like some little shopping area, it's a whole mall. They have shops and restaurants all at different price points. Now if you're staying at Encore, the Wynn does have a lot of shopping area, not nearly as big as this, but there are some shops there. They're all very high end though. Think of like Rolex and Louis Vuitton. Here at the Grand Canal shops, you're also going to find a Louis Vuitton, but you'll also find other stores at, you know, lower price points, if you will. And there are a ton of restaurants here for you to choose from as well. So since we're not really doing a full review of each of these properties, we're not going to go into all the restaurants at each one. However, just know that there are a ton of restaurants between the both of them. You're not going to go hungry for sure, but just know that most of them are going to be pretty expensive. You're not going to find a whole lot of cheap eats. But at the Venetian, so if you just walk over to the Venetian from the Palazzo, you do have a food court here. And then of course upstairs in the Grand Canal shops, there's just a ton of restaurants, including another food court. Over at Wynn, if you're looking for sort of cheap eats, you really don't have that. Although you could technically really just walk across the street to the Fashion Show Mall and eat something there too. Now the one thing that is different if you're staying at the Encore is that at the Wynn there is a buffet. There is no buffet at either Venetian or Palazzo. So now that you've seen both the Encore and the Palazzo and the rooms and learned a little bit more, tell us what you think about it. Or if you stayed at either of the properties, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now, I have to admit, Wynn Encore, Venetian, Palazzo are beautiful properties, but I still say that Cosmopolitan is our favorite. And if you watch this video, we'll show you why. Now, if you also want to watch more room tours, make sure to check out this playlist. Well, that's all we have, and we thank you for watching. See you next time.